Hey folks, it's the June 7th. So this is the June 7th update. It's been a little while. Um, Never sure if that's because it's too hectic or not hectic enough, but so here's the update as of today. Bonnie and I are both here with Arta. Wyana just left yesterday, I guess, to return back to take care of some teeth appointments in Calgary. So things here are, um, I don't know, stable, unstable as the way they usually are. So it's been a bit of a rough kind of week. And so I'll just do my best to let you know where I think we're at. So um, as you all know, the stent went in really well. It was a successfully implanted, and that really has reduced the jaundice. So the jaundice has gone way down, and that part of the healing has been really good. The last week, though, however, has seen I'll call either an increase or an increase in fatigue and exhaustion. So that's been the main symptom that's been troubling Arta this last week. We did have a lovely outing to Sydney by the Sea on Thursday that largely involved Arta being in the car for a drive with Wyana and Bonnie, and then some time pushing her in the wheelchair along the pier. But then the next, that was about the extent of the energy she would have available. So post Thursday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today have seen a real significant increase in fatigue. So moving from a fair amount of time being up or sitting in the living room while we do other things to much more time staying in the chair or in the bed, just really, really tired is how she would describe it. So increasingly finding it difficult to kind of raise her arms up. Her arms are very heavy. Her legs feel very heavy. She falls asleep a lot. Doesn't really want to have a lot of noise. Doesn't really want to talk to people. Doesn't want to sustain a conversation. So doesn't mind if people are talking around her, but doesn't have the energy to generate talk, and increasingly wants like only one thing happening at a time. So not two people talking, just one person talking, no music, no TV, kind of like at that level. Um, and if I were describing the amount of time she's actually up, so sitting at the table or moving or pushing the walker around, it's been from like a maximum of maybe 3 to 4 hours of up time and as low as 1 hour a day. So quite a lot of time um, sleeping or resting, uh, uh, attempting to do some walking. So she's always, oh, I should do some exercise, and gets the walker and then walks it sort of from the bed to my kitchen table, and then decides that's enough and goes back. And so and then needs a nap again, or wants to come out on the deck and then comes out on the deck, but then immediately kind of flops her head down on a pillow here and sleeps on the deck for um, maybe an hour or two, and then wakes up and then wants to go back inside to sleep again inside. So that's sort of the pattern that we're seeing. Um, uh, on the eating front, eating's a challenge. So she's not throwing up at all and not having really strong nausea, but very strong food aversion. So not wanting to eat and having a very hard time imagining anything that she wants to put into her body. I have tried my best to bully her into Ensure with absolutely no success on that front. So she remains dominant in her refusal to kind of consider the more protein heavy, nutrient heavy beverages. So uh, but I did read in one of the books recently that it's very common for people to not want to eat and for that to be upsetting to their families. And the book on pancreatic cancer that I finally got around to reading says to the patient, if your family is upset and is worried that you're not eating enough and is trying to press you to eat more, then ask your community nurse to talk to your family and explain to them not to do that. Hated reading that. So anyways, there you go. I talked with the nurse again today who kind of reaffirmed that as long as she's hydrated, it's actually okay. So, though she is eating sort of 4 to 6 small meals a day, each of those meals will be something like 2 tablespoons of oatmeal, 2 tablespoons of rice, 3 ounces of juice. So, the cut a tomato up and then just suck the tomato juice out, or cut up an orange and just sort of, those mini oranges. So I'm doing my best not to be panicky about the lack of what, from my perspective, feels like not enough nutrition, which I think could contribute to the fatigue. But um, she would seem to be getting enough hydration and through juice, which she will still drink. So that's sort of that. Um, the last couple of days have been a real increase in pain symptoms, which she would describe as having a headache. So she's not saying her stomach hurts or her back hurts as much. She's saying, my head is aching. I can't get my head to stop aching. I can't find a comfortable position. I'm uncomfortable. I hurt. My legs are too heavy. My arms are too heavy. I can't lift my arms. I'm exhausted. I hurt. My head hurts. So those kind of symptoms. I was curious about the fact that she doesn't describe it as being her back or her stomach, which used to be how she would describe the pain symptoms. But my experience so far has also been when she has something that's the most pressing of her symptoms sort of tends to overwhelm all the other ones, so they don't get described or pointed to. So how are we taking care of all of that? So she's scheduled now to see, I've talked to the pain and symptom management people and the community nursing people today. Arta's had a visit. She has a visit every morning from someone who takes care of socks and getting her dressed. She also had a shower at 1:30 today. We will see the pain and symptom management people in the clinic on Wednesday. So they agreed there's enough symptoms changing that it's time to kind of have some eyes on her to see what increases need to go into place. And Amy, that we spoke to, suggested that probably it's time to increase the fentanyl patch or add more of the methadone into the mix. So some of those that the pain management might now be not quite at the right fit. So between now and then, Art has been asking for the fentanyl again, and it is only sort of brief respite periods, but the pain and symptom management people said, don't worry about that. Between now and then, go ahead and give that to her. And we are also going to mix Advil into the mix to take care of the headache, so she can take her maximum Tylenol and her maximum Advil. There you go. There's what we're doing to manage that. Back rubs, foot rubs, just as needed. She's also suggested today more of the anti-nausea meds that she'd stopped taking. She's asked for those again. So it's more gassy, kind of a lot of borborygmi, as Catherine says, the noise, the rumbling noise of the stomach. So, so we will see the oncologist on Wednesday morning to review the results of the CT scan of her abdomen. So I haven't seen those yet, only the doctor can see them, but by Wednesday we'll know the rate at which the tumor is growing. The blood work seems to suggest the tumor is growing. It also suggests that her body is taking up, is recovering from the jaundice part. So her liver is undoubtedly still kind of tender to her, but so we'll see oncology in the morning to get a review of the CAT scan on the phone. That will be a virtual visit. And then in the afternoon, we'll go physically into the cancer clinic to meet with the pain symptom management team people. And then on Thursday, the community nursing people who we've been talking to will be in for a face-to-face visit with Arta as well. So that's Wednesday and Thursday of this week. The the sort of always challenging parts of this are trying to figure out what Arta wants and how to maximize her happiness and how to maximize the energy she has. So the parts that have been hard in this week is kind of more expression of, like, saying out loud to the nurse, I don't want to be in my body anymore, like those kinds of statements, which are really hard to hear. And Catherine has pointed out that some of the cancer impacts on with pancreatic cancer look exactly the same as depression. So it's hard to know what part of the lethargy and the fatigue and the sleeping and the lack of interest in things and the not wanting to talk and not wanting to do anything, which we're seeing for sure. Is that like depression related, or is that just winding down tumor or cancer related? And if it's the former, can it be addressed through like adding Ritalin into the mix to increase energy, or depression meds in that? Because it's chemical in some ways, like not just, oh, I'm depressed about cancer. As Arta says, yeah, of course, who wouldn't be depressed? It's a bit of a bummer, but it's hard to identify if the symptoms are like, yeah. So that's like, for eyes on the ground on this side, that's the stuff that's sort of hardest to figure out with her. She definitely is not feeling well enough to kind of manage phone calls, like to sustain them, though she's happy to listen in. And she has been like not interested in watching TV, not interested in reading the newspaper, not interested in reading the Times, not interested in blogging. So, not wanting to tell stories, just wanting to rest. So anyways, there's the kind of challenging questions of this part of the week. She did come out the other day for a while we were doing painting. So yes, while Wyana was here, she gave Bonnie and I watercolor lessons. And so, for example, you can see here, we did these kinds of like, ooh, like a beachy watercolor scene. Oh, owls. There's my owl. Here's what Wyana's owl is, so you can sort of see what it might look like. But hey, this one is my owl, or Bonnie's beautiful pastel version of the same thing. Bonnie's beautiful roses in watercolor. These are probably Bonnie's, Wyana's blended together because Bonnie got extra lessons. Here's Bonnie's beautiful picture of the dock. This one must be mine. The first one I showed you was probably oh yeah, oh bummer. This really beautiful one that I showed you at the beginning, that was Wyana. So, and then attempting to do pictures of the lake. So Bonnie hasn't finished hers yet because she was doing more of the caregiving work. My watercolors are blowing away in the wind. But here's Bonnie's not quite yet completed one, but hopefully you all recognize that mountain view there as we're working through that. Here is Rebecca's version of that same view. And then here's Wyana's version of that same view. Now, I do want you to note here, this tree does not appear in the photo that we're using because Wyana has added a view of a tree that does exist at the margin between Moya's house and Wyana's house, but not between Wyana's house and Glenn's house. So this is inaccurate. It may be a better picture than mine, but it's less accurate. And we all know that that's the main goal of watercolor, surely, is accuracy. So there you go. That's pretty much all she wrote. Oh yeah, not quite. Here's Bonnie's other really beautiful flowers and my flowers. So that's what goes on when we're sitting at the table at night with Wyana trying to, while Arta is resting. So there you go. That's the update. Looking forward to letting you guys know about what we learn in the next visit with the pain and symptom management people, and hopefully we'll figure out if there's a new baseline meds level we can do in order to make things better. And I'm just going to turn this a little bit here so you can see last words we'll give to the hummingbird, who's just sitting up there on the feeder. And when Arta's out here, that hummingbird often comes still and has a little bit of nourishment, just like the hummingbird feeder outside her window at the lake. So that's all for now, and tons of love to you all, and we'll talk later.